You remembered. Nice.
And I think Brielle, she remembered that description that Prabhupada had. What does it mean that Krishna is simultaneously blackish, and his blackish is not like black in the material world, but absorbs color, absorbs light, it reflects light, dazzling. And then you mentioned that word, and you looked in Google in the images. How did you describe that color?
Iridescent.
Iridescent. Yeah.
And that's what I remember. That's what attracted you. That you were spaced out, and then you said, I spaced because I'm stuck on the iridescence. So yeah. And Brielle said he is conversant with all Vedic literatures, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I said that he's shy.
And we were trying to figure out what that actually meant.
Yeah, and I was thinking about it actually, because Krishna has many.
Well, I was thinking maybe like his childhood pastimes, but even then I was having a hard time really thinking of one where he just openly displays shyness in an obvious way.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's this pastime with the fruit vendor when he comes, and he holds grains in his hand, and he loses all the grains before he even gets to the fruit vendor. But yeah, it's
kind of shy.
It will be interesting to research to see what Prabhupada says about Krishna's being shy. And then the version that Brielle was reading, there are many other qualities which are not mentioned in our version. And then you said something about Sattvato.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's for all the viewers who didn't watch the previous episode of Nectar of Devotion.
There was one situation I guess came out, but I never read it in Krishna book. Mahatma Prabhu. I don't know if you guys heard of him. He lives in Alachua, but he's supposed to.
Brahma Samhita that he composed. He sings it in the 90s. He made the record.
Oh, yeah. No? He's well known in ISKCON. I don't know but he was saying that
he's a singer, right?
I don't know.
He took Sattvatov, Mahatma.
Yeah,
that's the same.
Yeah, he's a life coach,
mm-hmm.
And he was saying that when Krishna pulled down the trees, the Arjuna trees, that he didn't want to come out from in between them because he was shy to get in trouble or something like that.
Okay.
So that's the only time that I could think of.
Jen. Yeah. So
what page are we on?
No idea. I don't have pages here, but it's second wave of the Nectar of Devotion. I was kind of hoping that Steph would stay, because then we can go to the introduction and read about the waves, how Prabhupada describes how the waves are compared to the mellows in devotional service, and they're like volcanoes in the ocean that erupt in waves of ecstasy or something. It's really beautiful.
Yeah.
So illustrative, visual.
Yeah. Well, this is pretty cool. We stopped on auspicious characteristics was the last one that we didn't.
Okay. Yeah. Would you like?
Okay.
Oh, we can chant the invocation.
Oh yeah. Nana Shastra Vicharanai Kani Puno Sadama Samstapako Lokana Midrakarina Tribhuvane Manya Sharana Karo Radha Krishna Padaravinda Brajana Nade Namatariko Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghunato Sri Jiva Gopalako Vande Rupa Sanatana Sanatano Raguyugo Shri Jiva Gopalato Ko. Yeah. Auspicious characteristics. There are certain characteristics of different limbs which are considered to be very auspicious and are fully present in the body of the Lord. In this connection, one friend of Nanda Maharaj, speaking about Lord Krishna's auspicious bodily symptoms, said, "My dear king of the cowherds, I can find 32 auspicious symptoms on the body of your son. I am wondering how this boy could have taken his birth in the family of cowherd men. Generally, when Lord Krishna appears, he does so in a family of Kshatriya kings, as did Lord Ramachandra, and sometimes in a family of Brahmanas. But Krishna accepted."
The Kalki here appears in family, which is kind of controversial because where are the Brahmanas in the end of Kali Yuga? Because there's not supposed to be any sattvic, nothing.
Maybe he's born in like Adibhadra, something like that, right?
Yes. Adibhadra.
What?
What is Adibhadra?
That's where Vyasadeva lives. It's like up in the mountains of the Himalayas. Oh no, he's
in the
born
incarnations, it's written where and to whom?
Shangri-La. I think that's where he's born.
Oh, I just
Someplace like that.
We don't need to stop on that.
Yeah. The role of son to Maharaj Nanda, despite the fact that Nanda belongs to the Vaishya community, the business of Vaishya community is trade, commerce, and the protection of cows. Therefore, his friend, who may have been born in a Brahmana family, expressed his wonder at how such an exalted child could take birth in a family of Vaishyas. Anyway, he pointed out the auspicious signs on the body of Krishna to the boy's foster father. He continued, "This boy has a reddish luster in 7 places. His eyes, the ends of his hands, the ends of his legs, his palate, his lips, his tongue, and his nails. A reddish luster in these 7 places is considered to be auspicious. 3 parts of his body are very broad: his waist, forehead, and chest. 3 parts of his body are short: his neck, thighs.
Close the ears.
His neck, thighs, and genitals. 3 parts of his body are very deep: his voice, intelligence, and navel."
Yeah. I like how the intelligence is deep.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't remember that. I remember the genitals, but I don't remember the intelligence.
Yeah.
There is highness.
There is highness in 5 parts of his body: his nose, arms, ears, forehead, and thighs. In 5 parts of his body there are fineness: his skin, the hairs on his head, and on the other parts of his body, his teeth, and his fingertips. The aggregate of all these bodily features is manifested only in the bodies of great personalities. The fate lines on the palm are also considered to be auspicious bodily symptoms. In this connection, the old gopi informed King Nanda, "Your son possesses various wonderful fate lines on his palms. There are the signs of lotus flowers and wheels on his palms, and on his soles there are the signs of a flag, thunderbolt, fish, rod for controlling elephants, and a lotus flower. Please observe how auspicious these signs are."
You know anyone with signs like that on the palms?
No.
Okay. I remember when I heard about it, I was still into tattoos. And I wanted to tattoo like these things on my feet and on my hands. Some people do that. It's the most painful spot to get a tattoo.
Oh yeah.
Because the skin is so thick, you have to really go deep.
It probably doesn't stay very long either. Huh?
If you go deep, it does.
Yeah.
But most of the people, they cannot bear the pain even. It's so painful.
You want? As one of you guys want to read?
Sure. We're at the fate lines.
Pleasing. Number 3.
Okay, pleasing. Beautiful bodily features which automatically attract the eyes are called ruchita, pleasing. Krishna possesses this attractive feature of ruchita in his personal features. In the 3rd canto, 2nd chapter, verse 13 of Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a statement about this.
What is Chira? Smile? Chira.
Ruchira.
Ruchita.
Chira. I think in Hindi, Chira means smile. I'm going to check it now. Chira. No, Chiri. Chiri means sweet. Chiri. Chira. Yeah, sorry.
Okay. The Supreme Personality of Godhead in his pleasing dress appeared at the scene of the sacrificial arena when King Yudhisthira was performing the Rajasuya sacrifice. All important personalities from different parts of the universe had been invited to the sacrificial arena, and all of them, upon beholding Krishna there, considered that the Creator had ended all of his craftsmanship in their creation of this particular body of Krishna. It is said that the transcendental body of Krishna resembles a lotus flower in 8 parts, namely his face, his 2 eyes, his 2 hands, his navel, and his 2 feet. The gopis and inhabitants of Vrindavan used to see the luster of lotus flowers everywhere, and they could hardly withdraw their eyes from such a vision.
Queen Kunti, she actually, there's a prayer like that Prabhupada, when they read Prabhupada that prayer, maybe we can actually read it. It's in the 8th chapter of the 1st canto. When Queen Kunti describes that all the limbs, all the different parts of Krishna body resembles a lotus flower. And when Prabhupada, there is a class where they go through that verse, and Prabhupada, he asks that why did I put the Sanskrit there? And he answers his own question, so you can recite it and you can learn it and you can memorize it. You can purify your mind like that. And I'm going to try to find lotus. I know I'm going to go with this. If you think it's necessary, or we can just continue. I don't know.
I'm happy to take a detour.
Okay. It's first. So difficult to find on the Kindle.
You can tell me what it is. I can search for it online.
First, 8th chapter. Let's see who finds first. And there's a verse.
Which verse?
If you search lotus in this particular passage, it's like you cannot miss the word lotus mentioned there so many times.
There's so many times.
Inside that particular chapter.
Yeah.
Pankaja. Namo Pankaja.
I think I found it.
You found it?
I think so. It goes, you, Krishna, the protector of the cows and the senses, the son of Vasudeva and Devaki, the child of Nanda and the cowherd men of Vrindavan. My respects for you with the lotus-like depression in your abdomen, always decorated with lotus flowers and with a glance as cool as a lotus flower, whose footprints show the mark of lotus flowers. You, the master of the senses, having released Devaki, mother of Krishna, who is just distressed because of being imprisoned for a long time by the envious Uncle Kamsa, and have also, as the guardian of me and my children, O mighty one, protected us against a series of dangers. It goes on. It's very, very long.
That's kind of like the whole prayers of King Kunti, but it starts from verse 22. Nama Pankaja Mahabhaya, Nama Pankaja Maline, Nama Pankaja Nabhaya, Nama Pankaja Maline. Maline. Is it Malini? Maline? No. Nama Pankaja Netraya, Namaste Pankaja Dharaye. Nama Pankaja Nabhaya, Nama Pankaja Maline, Nama Pankaja Dhaya, Namaste Pankajat Kriye. My respectful obeisances are unto you, O Lord, whose abdomen is marked with the depression like a lotus flower, who are always decorated with garlands of lotus flowers, whose glance is as cool as the lotus, and whose feet are engraved with lotuses. And there's a purport too. We can maybe read a little bit of that.
Sure.
Here are some of the specific symbolic marks on the spiritual body of the personality of Godhead, which distinguishes his body from the bodies of all others. Prabhupada, like he's rhyming there. So cool. They are all special features of the body of the Lord. The Lord may appear as one of us, but he is always distinct by his specific bodily features. Srimati Kunti claims herself unfit to see the Lord because of her being a woman. This is claimed because women, Shudras, the laborer class, and the Vijabandhus, or the wretched descendants of the higher three classes. You know what is Vijabandhus, right? You don't have to explain.
No.
Vijabandhus is someone who was born in a Brahminical family, but he never underwent the purification actually. He's a Brahmin by like his family name. Like in Vrindavan, there's so many Goswami families, but they're not the Goswami only in name.
Yeah.
Vija means twice born. It's actually Dvija means a bird, and one of the significant things about a bird that first it's born in the egg and then it's born out of the egg. So it's born twice. So an actual Brahmana, he's supposed to be born twice, like Brielle, she's planning to take. Are you still, right? Maybe? You're planning to take the initiation on the 23rd. So that's the first birth. Usually that birth is like the name-giving ceremony that is done very early. And then when the boy is matured, he's getting another second initiation, which is what solidifies his connection with the spiritual master. Like the Brahminical thread means that you have a spiritual master, and but bandhu means that bandhu means like bind in English. They just bound. They bound to the Dvija bandhus. They're not Dvija bandhus. They're not Brahminical themselves, but they're bound by family connection, friendship. So it's like a half-baked potato. You cannot eat it, and you cannot put it back into the pile of potatoes. Yeah. What you do with it, I don't know. It's up to you. Or the wretched descendants of higher three classes are unfit by intelligence to understand transcendental subject matter concerning the spiritual name, fame, attributes, forms, etc. of the supreme absolute truth. Such persons, although they are unfit to enter into the spiritual affairs of the Lord, can see him as Archa Vigraha. Archa Vigraha is the form of the Lord of the deity. Archa means to offer worship, and Vigraha means form, worshipable form. Who descends on the material world just to distribute favors to the fallen souls, including the above-mentioned women, Shudras, and Vijabandhus. Because such fallen souls cannot see anything beyond matter, the Lord condescends to enter into each and every one of the innumerable universes as the Garbhudakashaya Vishnu. Sorry. Garbha means, how do you say, womb? Yeah, womb. And Dakashai, it's Krishna in the womb, like the womb of material creation. From the womb, Lord Brahma, he comes, and lotus flower, all know that. Who grows a lotus stem from the lotus-like depression in the center of this transcendental abdomen. And thus, Brahman, the first living being in the universe, is born. Therefore, the Lord is known as Pankajabhi. The Pankajabhi Lord accepts the Archa Vigraha, his transcendental form, in different elements, namely for form within the mind, form made out of wood, form made out of earth, form made out of metal, form made out of jewels, form made out of paint, a form drawn on sand, etc. All such forms of the Lord are always decorated with garlands of lotus flowers. Yeah, like you can practice deity worship, archa, what's it called? Archa Vigraha, in one of these 6 forms. Like you don't need, like 6 feet. I remember when I would meet Brihad Mridanga Prabhu or some other devotees from the Montreal temple, they will always like tell me, I mean, I really appreciate that, but I'm not too like connected to deity worship, but they would always like try to impress me that in Montreal it's the largest marble deities, and like, it's great, but you can have a deity from even within your mind. You can make a deity. Of course, then Prabhupada too says if you worship Krishna in your mind, then you can take prasadam in your mind. But yeah,
No faking.
yeah. But I can see that as a how Krishna becomes so approachable. Like there's no ahaitu kiya pratyata. This verse here Govinda quotes like every lecture he gives. Devotional service is causeless. It cannot be obstructed by anything material. If you want Krishna, you can meditate on Krishna in your mind. Or have anyone thought today about Krishna's form? No? Yeah, me too. Well, now we're thinking about Krishna's form. How he has lotus flowers everywhere. The meditators worship a form within the mind. Therefore, the Lord is merciful even to the women, Shudras, and Bijabandhus, provided they agree to visit the temple of worship in different forms made for them. Such temple visitors are not idolaters. Just pronounce it? Idolaters. As alleged by men with poor fund of knowledge. Yeah, there is this class called Arya Samadhis in India. They basically say that why go to the temple? God is everywhere. God is everywhere. Why do you go to the temple? Right? There's no need to go to the temple. You agree with them?
No.
Why? You agree with them?
Well, when somebody gets on something like the Madhyamadikari platform, then they can see that God's everywhere. But then for the earlier stages,
your problem is that you don't understand that you're a Madhyamadikari. So you should stop going to the temple to understand you're a Madhyamadikari. That's if you remain in the temple, you're going to be always in your pipe. Prabhuji, please. No temple, please. If you want to advance, you can go to the temple. They say there is no need for a temple, and Prabhupada cracks a joke on them. But, so Krishna is everywhere, but not in the temple. Yeah. Like they say Krishna is everywhere, but when they invited to come to the temple and worship Krishna, Krishna is not there. Did you get the logic? The joke, Prabhupada? Like the Arya Samajis, they protest for, again, they don't like temple worship. You come to the temple, they ask you for money, they ask you to wash the floor, all these, things. So they say, don't go to the temple because Krishna is everywhere, God is everywhere. Don't be sectarian. But they are themselves, they're sectarian because they don't perceive Krishna in his home, in the temple. Yeah. And of course, Krishna is everywhere, but why he's not in the temple too? Mm-hmm. Not that he's everywhere. It's kind of like the impersonal and the personal battle. There's no battle. The personalism includes impersonalism. But when the impersonalists say that God cannot have any personal form, then we have to, say no, this is nonsense.
At least they'd want to go every once in a while if they really have that vision. They'd want to go to the temple at least sometimes.
They don't have to go, but if they think that Krishna is not there, it contradicts their own philosophy that God is everywhere. Yeah. If you say, I'm a millionaire, but you don't have $100, You know, it's like, why are you a millionaire there? You don't have even $100, man. No, but I'm a millionaire, you know.
Yeah.
So it must include the fact that God is in the temple also, if he's everywhere. Like the temple is not everywhere too. Temple is beyond the jurisdiction of everywhere.
Yeah.
So yeah, just remember that. Recently I heard Prabhupada making a joke like that in the class. All the great acharyas established such temples of worship in all places just to favor the less intelligent. And one should not pose himself as transcending the stage of temple worship while one is actually in the category of the Shudras and the women or less. One should begin to see the Lord from his lotus feet, gradually rising to the thighs, waist, chest, and face. One should not try to look at the face of the Lord without being accustomed to seeing the lotus feet of the Lord. Srimati Kunti Devi, because of her being an aunt of the Lord, did not begin to see the Lord from the lotus feet, because the Lord might feel ashamed, and thus Kunti Devi, ashamed. And thus Kunti Devi, just to save a painful situation for the Lord, began to see the Lord just above his lotus feet. In other words, from the waist of the Lord, gradually rising to the face and down to the lotus feet. In the round, everything there is in order. Yeah, and I never actually performed like deity, like a artic to like a real like Krishna Murti. But that's what I've heard too. Is it maybe you saw in the temple because you lived in like big established temples that do when they do the artic? Maybe we'll do it one day. That'll be nice. They start from like Krishna's feet, right? And what I learned in my like little deity
They
training,
do it even in Tulsi, right? You start,
like from the bottom up. Yeah. What the instruction that I got is that we start like in the bottom of the parampara, like from Prabhupada to Bhaktisiddhanta, Gorakishora, and then
that's
all the way up
probably the way that they do it. I never noticed it. Yeah, most likely that's what they do.
Yeah, it's like the same principle.
But when they move to the Krishna, the deities, they'll start on the feet. Yeah.
I didn't know there was a process for like just looking at the deities. It's really interesting. I always look immediately at the face. So this is important information. And why is it that Krishna would feel ashamed if Queen Kunti began looking at his feet?
Yeah, it's the rasa. It's a different rasa between him and Kunti. She's like on the parikya, parental mood.
Mm-hmm.
Krishna sees her as superior. She understands Krishna. This is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and actually that's one of the big differences between Yashoda and Kunti and Devaki. If you read the Krishna book, Devaki and Kunti Devi, all the other dynasty, they know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj, Vrindavan Bhajan is, Krishna he is outmost very powerful demigod. They don't consider him like God or whatever. But Kunti, she knows. So that's why her prayers, they're very intricate, because she gives like the right mood of accepting Krishna on a spontaneous level without minimizing from him being the Supreme Person. So just not to make him feel ashamed of her recognizing that. Because it's disturbance to Krishna. Krishna he doesn't like it actually. Prabhupada, he says how more than following the protocol, Krishna likes when you break the protocol, like the worship, when you reach like this spontaneous love. And to do that, Krishna many times he uses this term yoga maya. You probably heard this term, yoga maya. We are under, at least myself, under Maha Maya, the illusory energy. Like man or a woman, and we're attracted to the body, where in fact the body is composed out of, nasty secretions and blood and gas,
urine and stool.
Yeah. Okay. But under Yoga Maya, another type of illusion is Krishna's direct illusion, that he decides, no, I want you to see me as a little boy that is hungry and starving, you know. Or he makes like when Krishna, he came back to Mathura and he rescued his parents, Devaki and Nandamala and Devaki and Vasudeva. They were very like in awe and reverence. Oh my God, Krishna is back. Om Namo Bhagavat. And Krishna just snapped it, and they like completely forgot about that he is God, and he let them, because he wanted to jump on their knees and just let them cradle him, you know. And they couldn't do it because they know that he is, oh my God, he is the supreme person. Om Namo Bhagavate.
Yeah.
So to have that very intimate
So
relationship.
he doesn't want her to relate to him as from the looking at his feet first, like he's superior to her. He wants to maintain this motherly relationship with
it's
her.
kind of to like Narada Muni. He visits Krishna in his 16,108 palaces in the Krishna book, and every palace that Narada Muni goes to, Krishna washes his feet and worships him. And Narada Muni knows that this is God and this is, you know, Krishna, and he knows who is Krishna very well, you know. But he allows him to do that, you know, because first of all, to set an example, and that's one of the purposes of Queen Kunti. She sets an example to, especially the women, you know. Prabhupada, that's actually one of the chapters he spoke the most about, like in terms of classes and lectures from the Bhagavatam. He gave so many lectures from them, and they compiled a book called Teachings of Queen Kunti. And Prabhupada, he suggested to many Matajis to take advantage and read about the mood of what is chastity and what is shyness and devotional service and like that. So
Where is that compiled?
There's a book called Teachings of Queen Kunti. It's most of the lectures from this particular chapter, the first canto, 8th chapter. And Prabhupada, from my understanding, Prabhupada, the most like connected with that part of the Bhagavatam. You cannot find more lectures than on these like 10 verses. Prabhupada would give like 20 lectures on every verse. It's really amazing.
Wow.
And yeah, he really gives this mood. There is also, I personally, I listen sometimes to that chapter when I cook. I have just like there is a Krishna book, the audio book for the Krishna book that Amala Bhakta, he did. So Amala Bhakta he narrated this teachings of Queen Kunti.
Thank you.
So we're going back to devotion.
Yeah.
Namo Pankaja Namo Suno Prakati. Where are we?
Effulgent.
Effulgent. Would you like to read?
The effulgence pervading the universe is considered to be the rays of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The supreme abode of Krishna is always throwing off the effulgence known as Brahma Jyoti, and that effulgence is emanating from his body. The luster of the hosts of jewels fixed on the chest of the Lord can defeat even the luster of the sun. And still, when compared with the bodily luster of the Lord, that crest of jewels appears to be only as bright as one of the stars in the sky. Therefore, the transcendental influence of Krishna is so great that it can defeat anyone. When Krishna was present in the sacrificial arena of his enemy, King Kamsa, the wrestlers present, although appreciating the softness of the body of Sri Krishna, were nevertheless afraid and perturbed when they thought of engaging with him in battle. It was pretty short, so strong. A person who has extraordinary bodily strength is called Baliyan.
It's a cool name.
Yeah.
Baliyan. In Hebrew, Baliyan, it means someone who likes to party.
Oh, yeah.
party animal.
Yeah. When Krishna killed Aristasura, some of the yogis said, "My dear friends, just see how Krishna has killed Aristasura. Although
Who was Aristasura? Was the donkey?
that was the cow, the bull.
Could be bull. Okay.
Yeah.
Aristasura. Stronger than.
Although he was stronger than a mountain, I think it's just a typo, although he was stronger than a mountain, Krishna plucked him up just like a piece of cotton and threw him away without any difficulty. There is another passage wherein it is said, "My dear devotees of Lord Krishna, may the left hand of Lord Krishna, which has lifted Govardhan Hill like a ball, save you from all dangers." Want to read, Brielle?
Sure. Ever youthful. Krishna is beautiful at his different ages, namely his childhood, his boyhood, and his youth. Out of these three, his youth is the reservoir of all pleasures, and is the time when the highest varieties of devotional service are acceptable. At that age, Krishna is full with all transcendental qualities and is engaged in his transcendental pastimes. Therefore, devotees have accepted the beginning of his youth as the most attractive feature in ecstatic love. At this age, Krishna is described as follows. The force of Krishna's youth was combined with his beautiful smile, which defeated even the beauty of the full moon. He was always nicely dressed, in beauty surpassing even Cupid, and he was always attracting the minds of the gopis, who were thereby always feeling pleasure. 7. Wonderful linguist. Rupa Goswami says that a person who knows the languages of different countries, especially the Sanskrit language, which is spoken in the cities of the demigods, as well as other worldly languages, including those of the animals, is called a wonderful linguist. It appears from the statement that Krishna can also speak and understand the languages of the animals. An old woman in Vrindavan, present at the time of Krishna's pastimes, once stated in surprise, "How wonderful it is that Krishna, who owns the hearts of all the young girls of Rajbhumi, can nicely speak the language of Rajbhumi with the gopis, while in Sanskrit he speaks with the demigods, and in the language of the animals he can even speak with the cows and buffalo. Similarly, in the language of the Kashmir province and with the parrots and other birds, as well as in most common languages, Krishna is so expressive." She inquired from the gopis as to how Krishna had become so expert in speaking so many different types of languages.
Truthful. A person whose word of honor is never broken is called truthful. Krishna once promised Kunti, the mother of the Pandavas, we just read about it, that he would bring her five sons back from the battlefield of Kurukshetra. After the battle was finished, when all the Pandavas had come home, Kunti praised Krishna because his promise was so nicely fulfilled. She said, "Even the sunshine may one day become cool, and the moonshine may one day become hot, but still your promise will not fail." Similarly, when Krishna, along with Bhima and Arjuna, went to challenge Jarasandha, he plainly told Jarasandha that he was the eternal Krishna, present along with the two Pandavas. The story is that both Krishna and the Pandavas, in this case, Bhima and Arjuna were Kshatriyas, warrior kings. Jarasandha was also a Kshatriya and was very charitable towards the Brahmanas. Thus Krishna, who had planned to fight with Jarasandha, went to him with Bhima and Arjuna in the dress of Brahmanas. Jarasandha, being very charitable towards the Brahmanas, asked them what they wanted, and they expressed their desire to fight with him. Then Krishna, dressed as a Brahmana, declared himself to be the same Krishna who was the king's eternal enemy. Would you like to read? Please.
That was pretty short. Go ahead if you want.
Okay. You don't want to read?
Pleasing talker. A person who can speak sweetly, even with his enemy, just to pacify him, is called a pleasing talker. Krishna was such a pleasing talker that after defeating his enemy, Kaliya, the water of Yamuna, he said, "My dear king of snakes, although I have given you so much pain, please do not be dissatisfied with me. It is my duty to protect these cows, which are worshipped even by the demigods. Only in order to save them from the danger of your presence have I been obliged to banish you from this place." Kaliya was residing within the water of the Yamuna, and as a result, the back portion of that river had become poisoned. Thus, so many cows had drunk the water and died. Therefore, Krishna, even though he was only 4 or 5 years old, dipped himself into the water, punished Kaliya very severely, and then asked him to leave the place and go elsewhere. Krishna at that time, Krishna said at that time that the cows are worshipped even by the demigods, and he practically demonstrated how to protect the cows. At least people who are in Krishna consciousness should follow in his footsteps and give all protection to the cows. Cows are worshipped not only by the demigods. Krishna himself worshipped the cows on several occasions, especially on the days of Gopastami and Govardhan Puja.
When you read this portion of Krishna, how he was talking pleasing to Kaliya, it's like this thing that dear Govinda Prabhu was saying in the morning, how we are arguing with Krishna. Was it today or yesterday? Yesterday.
I don't remember. I thought it was today, but maybe it was yesterday.
So, I mean, if Kaliya was subdued by Krishna's talk, and we were not, like we persisted so much, like through Krishna's pleasing words, like
yeah, wow, how stubborn we were.
Stubborn, closed. You really need to like have a stone heart to not be receptive to something that even Kaliya was receptive to. I mean, Kaliya, he got it. That was after Krishna danced on his hoods, so he softened. But
Yeah.
They didn't actually fall down. It wasn't so much considered a fall down when they came to be Lord Brahma, but then when they got here in the material world, then they get captured by the material energy.
Well, I speak kind of about the passage between, because we argued with Krishna for long to we basically forced him to send us here.
Yeah.
Fluent. A person who can speak meaningful words and with all politeness and good qualities is called a Vavaduka, or fluent. There is a nice statement in Srimad Bhagavatam regarding Krishna's speaking politely. And Krishna politely bade his father, Nanda Maharaj, to stop the ritualistic offering of sacrifice to the rain god Indra. A wife of one village cowherd man became captivated. She later thus described the speaking of Krishna to her friends. Krishna was speaking to his father so politely and gently that it was as if he were pouring nectar into the ears of all present there. After hearing such sweet words from Krishna, who will not be attracted to him? Krishna's speech, which contains all good qualities in the universe, is described in the following statement by Uddhava. The words of Krishna are so attractive that they can immediately change the heart of even his opponent. His words can immediately solve all of the questions and problems of the world. Although he does not speak very long, each and every word from his mouth contains volumes of meaning. These speeches of Krishna are very pleasing to my heart.
That's really cool. Although he doesn't speak for very long, each and every word from his mouth contains volumes of meaning. It's really good. Anyone remembers any pastime like that? That Krishna changed the heart of the opponent?
Change the heart of a what?
Or like any of these like descriptions in this paragraph that Uddhava mentions. I remember this Aristosaur, not Aristosaur, what Aristosaur? The demon that I think we spoke about him when Chase was here. The demon that got a benediction to like everyone who he would touch his head will burst. And then Krishna, he tricked him and he made him touch his own head.
Yeah. When I guess also when Bali Maharaj took over the universe,
Yeah,
and he comes as Vamana, and for some reason I can't remember. Oh, because he's a Brahmana, he offers him take whatever you want. You take something from anywhere from within the universe, because now I've taken over the whole place. And then Vamana says, I only want 3 steps. And then he says, you're asking, I'm the emperor of the whole universe. Why don't you ask for more? Yeah. And he said, I told you, I just want 3 steps. He says, okay. So then he steps halfway over the universe, and then he steps the rest of the way. And then there's no more to take. So then he ties up Bali Maharaj.
He offers him his head.
Yeah, and then he says, you can step, I have nothing else to offer you, just step on my head. Yeah. But I thought it was funny how he ties him up.
Yeah, with the snakes, some snakes, they come there.
Yeah.
Highly learned. When a person is highly educated and acts strictly on moral principles, he is called highly learned. A person conversant in different departments of knowledge is called educated, and because he acts on moral principles, he is called morally stout. Together, these two factors constitute learning. Krishna, receiving education from Sandipani Muni, is described by Narada Muni as follows. In the beginning, Lord Brahma and others are as clouds of evaporated water from the great ocean of Krishna. In other words, Brahma first received the Vedic education from Krishna, as the clouds receive water from the ocean. The Vedic education or instruction, which was spoken by Brahma to the world, was then reposed upon the mountain of Sandipani Muni. Sandipani Muni instructions to Krishna are like the reservoir of water on the mountain, which flows as a river and goes again to mix with the source of the ocean of Krishna.
Yes. Reminds me of Jahnavi's song. Jahnavi Harrison has a song. It goes, my heart flows like a river to the sea. Do you know that song, Keith?
I checked it today, yeah.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Nice, you've seen it. You've heard it too, Rama. That's nice.
Yeah,
cool. Maybe that's where she got it from.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
To be more clear, the idea is that Krishna actually cannot be instructed by anyone, just as the ocean does not receive water from the source by itself. It only appears that the rivers are pouring water into the ocean, so it is clear that Brahma received his education from Krishna, and from Brahma via the disciplic succession, the Vedic instruction was distributed. Sandipani Muni is likened to the river which is flowing down again to the same original ocean of Krishna. Anyone would like to continue?
This is my turn. So here's the ocean of Krishna. Okay. The Siddhas, the inhabitants of Siddhaloka, where all are born with fully developed mystic powers, and the Chanaras, the inhabitants of a similar planet, pray to Krishna as follows. My Lord Govinda, the goddess of learning, who is decorated with 14 kinds of educational ornaments, whose intelligence is all-pervading within the 4 departments of the Vedas, whose attention is always on the law books given by great sages like Manu, and who is apparelled in 6 kinds of expert knowledge, namely Vedic evidence, grammar, astrology, rhetoric, vocabulary, and logic, and whose constant friends are the supplements of the Vedas and Puranas, decorated with the final conclusion of all education, has now acquired an opportunity to sit with you as a class friend in school, and she is now engaged in your service. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, does not require any education, but he gives a chance to the goddess of learning to serve him. Being self-sufficient, Krishna does not require the service of any living entity, although he has many devotees. It is because Krishna is so kind and merciful that he gives the opportunity to everyone to serve him, as though he required the service of his devotees. Regarding his moral principles, it is stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam that Krishna is ruling over Vrindavan as death, personified to the thieves, as pleasing bliss to the pious, as the most beautiful Cupid to the young girls, and as the most munificent personality of the poor men. He is as refreshing as the full moon to his friends, and to his opponents he is the annihilating fire generated from Lord Shiva. Krishna is therefore the most perfect moralist in his reciprocal dealings with different kinds of persons. When he is death personified to the thieves, it is not that he is without moral principles or that he is cruel. He is still kind, because to punish thieves with death is to exhibit the highest quality of moral principles. In the Bhagavad Gita also, Krishna says that he deals with different kinds of persons according to their dealings with him. Krishna's dealings with devotees and with non-devotees, although different, are both equally good, because Krishna is all good. His dealings with everyone are always good.
Highly intelligent. A man is called intelligent if he has a sharp memory and fine discretion. As far as Krishna's memory is concerned, it is said that when he was studying in the school of Sandipani Muni in Avantipur, he showed such a sharp memory that by once taking instruction from the teacher, he immediately became perfect in any subject. Actually, his going to the school of Sandipani Muni was to show the people of the world that however great or indigenous one may be, he must go to higher authorities for general education. However great one may be, he must accept a teacher or spiritual master. Krishna's fine discretion was exhibited when he was fighting with the untouchable king who attacked the city of Mathura. According to Vedic rites, those who are untouchable are not to be touched by the Kshatriya kings, not even for killing. Therefore, when the untouchable king seized the city of Mathura, Krishna did not think it wise to kill him directly with his own hand. Still, the king had to be killed, and therefore Krishna decided with fine discretion that he would flee from the battlefield so that the untouchable king would chase him. He could then... Go ahead.
Yeah, that's last time I was speaking about yesterday, that like I thought Krishna is shy there. But anyways, yeah, that's Kali Yavana and Jarasandra and Krishna, the rancher, I think.
Yeah.
He could then lead the king to the mountain where how do you say that? Muchukunda? Muchukunda, it's a fun name, was lying asleep. Muchukunda had received a benediction from Kartikeya to the effect that when he awoke from his sleep, whomever he might see would at once be burnt to ashes. Therefore, Krishna thought it wise to lead the untouchable king to that cave so that the king's presence would awaken Muchukunda and he would at once be burnt to ashes.
Oh, this one here, it says that he received a benediction from Lord Shiva. And that one, it says that he got the benediction from Kartikeya.
Yeah.
No.
Well, Kartikeya is the chief of Shiva.
Oh, yeah, okay, I guess so.
But it is a different, there are different things in our version, yeah.
Maybe I should find the one that you guys are reading. I wonder how I can do that.
I don't know if it's going to make much difference, but
It's on Krishna Path. That's the website I sent you with the database.
They have it like stored like
Yeah.
on the actual website.
KrishnaPath.org. You can do it next time.
Yeah, okay.
There is a chapter in the Krishna book that all the lists of the things that Krishna studied under Sandipani Muni is there. Want to jump there?
Sure.
Don't have to read the whole chapter, but we can see what Krishna was learning. There are like really cool things. You read the chapter before?
and this is in where?
A Krishna book.
Yeah, I must have read it. I don't remember.
Okay.
I'm probably gonna get off. I don't know how long you guys are going for, but I'll probably get off by 9.
Sounds good.
Right, heads up.
Yeah, we can just read this from the Krishna book and close the session. Someone talk true. Anyone read today anything interesting from Prabhupada outside of the programs?
No. I'm reading the book. ADHD. I finally got it. Finally got my book.
Glad, I'm happy for that. Mm.
Here. Krishna recovers the son of his teacher. There's a chapter called Krishna recovers the son of his teacher. And then Krishna is sent to school. Where he's trained in where is it? Both Krishna and Balaram exactly followed these principles with great devotion and underwent religious regulations of brahmacharya. There's actually a picture of Krishna has a shika and he stands on the bank of the ocean. Yeah. And thus they satisfied the spiritual master who instructed them in Vedic knowledge. Being satisfied, Sandipani Muni instructed them in Vedic knowledge, wisdom, as well as in the supplementary literature such as the Upanishads. Because Krishna and Balaram tempted to be Kshatriyas, they were specifically trained in military science, politics, and mathematics. In politics, there are 6 kinds of knowledge: how to make peace, how to fight, how to pacify, how to divide and rule, how to give shelter, etc. All these items were fully explained and instructed to Krishna and Balaram. Oh, okay, this here's the part I wanted to read. After hearing only once from the teacher, Krishna and Balaram learned all the arts and sciences. In 64 days and 64 nights, they learned all the necessary arts and sciences that are required in human society. During daytime, they took lessons on the subject matter, on a subject from the teacher. And by nightfall, after having heard from the teacher, they were expert in the department of knowledge. First of all, they learned how to sing, how to compose songs, and how to recognize different tunes. They learned the favorable and unfavorable accents and meters, how to sing different kinds of rhythms and melodies, and how to follow them by beating different kinds of drums. They learned how to dance with rhythm, melody, and different songs. They learned how to write dramas, and they learned various types of paintings, beginning from different village arts up to the highest perfectional stage. They also learn how to paint tilak on the face and make different kinds of dots on the forehead and cheeks. Then they learned the art of painting on the floor with liquid paste of rice and flour. Such paintings are very popular at auspicious ceremonies performed at household affairs or in the temple. They learn how to make a resting place with flowers and how to decorate clothing and leaves with colorful paintings. They also learn how to set different valuable jewels in ornaments. They learn the art of ringing water pots. Water pots are filled with water to certain measurement so that when one beats on the pot, different tunes are produced. And when the pots are beaten together, they produce melodious sound. They also learn how to throw water in the rivers or the lakes while taking a bath among friends. There's art. Yeah. They also learn how to decorate with flowers. This art of decorating can still be seen in various temples of Vrindavan. During the summer season, it is called Pura Badhi. The dais, the throne, the walls, and the ceiling are all fully decorated, and a small aromatic fountain of flowers is fixed in the center. Because these flower decorations, the people, fatigued from the heat of the summer season, become refreshed. Krishna and Balaram learned the art of dressing hair in various styles and fixing a helmet in different positions on the head. They also learned how to perform on a theatrical stage, how to decorate dramatic actors with flower ornaments over the ear, and how to sprinkle sandalwood pulp and water to produce a nice fragrance. They also learned the art of performing magical feats. Within the magical field, there is an art called Bahura Rupi, which means a person is dressed himself in such a way that when he approaches a friend, he cannot be recognized. They also learn how to make beverages which are required at various times. Krishna was a bartender, like some people. And they studied syrups and tastes and the effects of intoxication. And we're not reading the nectar of devotion anymore. Oh my God. They learned how to manipulate thin threads for dancing puppets. So cool. And they learned how to string wires on musical instruments, such as the veena, sitar, and tampura, to produce melodious sound. Then they learned puzzles and how to set and solve them. They learned the art of reading books, from which even a foolish student can very quickly learn to read the alphabet and comprehend writing. Then they learned how to rehearse and act out a drama. They also studied the art of solving crossword puzzles, filling up the missing space and making complete words. They also learned how to draw pictographic literature. In some countries in the world, pictographic literature is still current. A story is represented by pictures. For instance, a man and a house are pictured to represent the man going home. Krishna and Balaram also learned the art of architecture, how to construct residential buildings. They learned to recognize valuable jewels by studying the luster and the quality of their colors. Then they learned the art of setting jewels with gold and silver. They also learned how to study soil to find minerals. The study of soil is now generally specialized science, but formerly it was a common knowledge even for the ordinary man. They learned to study herbs and plants to extract medicine from the elements. By studying the different species of plants, they learned how to crossbreed plants and get different types of fruits. It sounds like GMO. They learn how to train and engage lambs and cocks in fighting for sporting purposes. Or the PETA, it's called, the organization.
Yeah.
It'll be triggered here.
Yeah.
They then learn how to teach parrots to speak and answer the questions of human beings. They learn practical psychology, how to influence another's mind and thus induce another to act according to one's own desire. Sometimes this is called hypnotism. They learn how to wash hair, dye it in different colors, and curl it in different ways. They learned the art of telling what is written in someone's book without actually seeing it. It's funny because videos like that on YouTube, they do that. They learn to tell what is contained in others' feast. Sometimes children imitate this art, although not very accurately. One child keeps something within his feast and asks his friend, "Can you tell me what is within?" And the friend gives some suggestion, although he actually cannot tell. But there is an art by which one can understand and actually tell what is told within the feast. Krishna and Balaram learn how to speak and understand the languages of various countries. They learn not only the language of human beings, Krishna could also speak even with animals and birds. Evidence of this is found in the Vaishnava literatures compiled by the Goswamis. Then, which I think is one of them is actual devotion, right? Then they learn how to make carriages and airplanes from flowers. It is said in the Ramayana that after defeating Ravan, Ramachandra was carried from Lanka and to Bharitavarsha on a plain of flowers called Pushparata.
That's amazing.
The whole science behind it. Krishna then learned the art of foretelling events by seeing signs. Yeah, Bhaktisiddhanta, he would do like that a lot.
Yeah.
Different signs like cutting the grass and water pots and whatever. Krishna then learned the art of foretelling. In the book called Kanar Vachana, various types of signs and omens are described. If when one is going out, one sees someone with a bucket full of water, that is a very good sign. But when one sees someone with an empty bucket, it's not a very good sign. Similarly, if one sees cow's milk along sees cow's milk along with the calf, it is a good sign. The result of understanding these signs is that one can foretell events, and Krishna learned the signs. Krishna also learned the art of composing martika. Matrika is a crossword section with 3 letters in a line. Counting any 3 from any side, it will count 9. No idea what is that. The matrika are different kinds and are for different purposes. Krishna learned the art of cutting valuable stones, such as diamonds. He learned the art of questioning and answering by immediately composing poetry within his mind. He learned the science of the action and reaction of physical combinations and permutations. He learned the art of psychiatrist. Krishna was a psychiatrist who can understand the psychic movements of another person. He learned how to satisfy one's desire. That's interesting. Desires are very difficult to fulfill, but if one desires something which is unreasonable and can never be fulfilled, the desire can be subdued and satisfied. And that is an art. By this art, one can also subdue sex impulses when they are aroused, as they are even in the brahmachari life. Oh, really? By this art, one can make even an enemy his friend or transfer the direct action of a physical element to another thing. Well, Krishna Bharan, the reservoir of knowledge and arts, exhibited their perfect understanding when they offered to serve their teacher. Yeah. So, yeah.
Wow. Gosh, so many things that he learned. So interesting. And also, he's Krishna, so he knew all the things, and he was just pretending he didn't know all the things. Well, Yoga Maya, but yeah.
Anything particular from the things that Krishna learned stood up for you?
Real?
I'm thinking.
Oh, the making a place for seeding out of flowers. I thought that was an interesting. Never would have thought of that.
I like the jewels, kind of. I don't know. I don't know, liked or not, but it's kind of got my attention.
Yeah.
Diamonds. Nalini, he told me I should trade diamonds. So I started yesterday.
Oh yeah.
Just kidding.
I liked the part about like he can see what someone's book says without seeing it or something like that. Or just like this part about magic.
Yeah, that's cool. Hypnotism and magic and supernatural powers.
Yeah. And that he can like put on these clothes and approach a friend and not be recognized.
Yeah, that's usually like a king. He will do that. He would dress in this particular way so no one of the citizens will recognize him, and then he will go and he will check what people think about him. And that's how Ramachandra he discovered that they think that he is a hand-packed husband. It was very important for a king to be like a monarch in the sense that people just obey his order, but it wasn't autocritical. In other words, it was monarchy, but the monarchy was in the sense that he is the father, and the citizens are like his children, and they love him and respect him just out of love, not because they're gonna end up in prison or something like that. And if they didn't want him there, the king, he would not be like a maniac that he will occupy the post to make people suffer. He would resign. I'm not a good king, so
yeah,
what can I do?
Nice. Yeah, he wanted honest feedback of what his people were feeling, so they would disguise and go amongst them and listen.
Yeah, it's almost 9. We can conclude unless someone wants to share something from the session. We read from 3 different books. It's been a while since I did such a deep reading. So thank you so much for those who are inspiring.
Yes. Maybe we can do some personal sharing, reflections.
Well, I remember reading, hearing class, Bhakti Swami wrote a book on leadership for an age of higher consciousness. I didn't get to read the whole thing, but he mentions this how it's important for the leaders to get feedback from their subordinates and that, and he quoted this situation, and then that was the last thing that he asked the GBC. They asked him because he became super empowered. He became like a full 100% like puppet of Prabhupada, in the last days. And like I was saying, just for a little example, there was a group of like 10 guru coolies who were abused and all left tons of like some really bad situations. and it was like 30 years they were like just like away from the movement, drugs, and all this stuff. And they just went in the room with him for like an hour, and they completely transformed him, you know, so he became really amazing. And so that's what they asked him, what was the one thing that if he could send a message to the GBC, this was the last time he wasn't able to go there because he was too sick, and they asked him what would he like to tell them, and that was to listen, get feedback from the juniors. And I thought that was really nice, because actually the fact that that many of the seniors I found were not open to that, and they didn't want to didn't want to let the bhaktas have any say. I found that to be quite a hindrance in my desire to partake in the community. So it's a really nice quality. Like, and that's what I got I really appreciated about Dear Govinda. I heard one time that the LNP, they wanted to fix up the website. He's like, yeah. So it's just like that. He's like, okay, it's a leadership program, and then they wanted to fix up his website. So okay, go ahead, you know. So I don't know. I found that as like I marked it as being a wonderful quality that he has. Yeah. Not so common quality in leader. Anybody else? A quality that I am determined to have for myself when I take on a position of leadership. That's a quality that I really desire to have. And I intend on having.
Listening.
Yeah, you get feedback, listening. It's listening, and then also, like, there's this one saying, my dad's girlfriend used to say this when we were kids, and I know the older generation, this was like quite popular in like especially like my grandparents' generations, you know, people that are like 60, 70 or a little older now, was children are meant to be seen and not to be heard, you know. And I never liked that. So yeah, so listen, and then that you get to have a way to partake, right? That's what spiritual life is, right? You enter a spiritual community, and you want to be supported to look inside of yourself and find the most amazing aspects of who you are, and then add that to the community, support the community. That, to me, that's what a spiritual community is. And if the leadership gets in the way of that, then, you know, it's not good. That's violence. They're rejectable. At least in that instance, you know, they may not be maybe good in general, but yeah. Anyway, so I value it.
And you were inspired from what we read to share this leadership.
I can't remember how it even applies to what we read, but you had mentioned Lord Ramachandra. The dress. Yeah, dressing up so the friends couldn't recognize you, and then you said about how the kings used to do that. So that's how I got onto this.
Yeah, I'm curious to read more. Next quality is genius. In Prabhupada, he goes deeper and deeper into what we read before. It's like the ocean of nectar of devotion. Like, there is no bottom to the ocean, in a sense. So Prabhupada extrapolates deeper and deeper and deeper to connect us with Krishna in the most intimate way. It's really beautiful.
Yeah, how many details there are about Krishna. It's amazing, like I think of Christianity in the Bible, and there's like, feels like there's not even like, there's like barely a fraction of the description that there is in these books of God as there are there.
Yeah.
I remember now something that I wanted to share the last time about like the comparatively when we study the processes of devotional services everywhere. It's in Christianity, it's in a perverted reflection, it's in regular relationship too. But like I spoke one time with a Christian in Montreal and asked, what is which devotional service you do to God? And Muslims too, they say the same thing many times, that we tell people that they should 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 tell people, and they just go like this, about God. And you ask them, so why do you tell them about God? Well, we tell them that they should tell us about God. Okay, but what do you tell them when you tell them about God? That they should tell about God.
Oh yeah.
So, and then I pull out like a book like Electro of Devotions. So here you read this, you can tell them something about God. No, we have to tell them that they should tell them about telling them about. Anyways, it was interesting, but yeah, we can go deeper.
Mm.
That's what many of that's pretty much what the other traditions, what they have to offer.
Yeah, the deity worship is something that is not present anywhere. Like who knows how God looks like? How his body is structured and all those different things. And so that's the aim, and that's the means, and you do that in practice, and after practice you continue. Yeah, we have a big responsibility for that, to share it with others.
Yeah.
With ourselves, first of all, to remember Krishna. Rupa Goswami, he mentioned that the many rules, but the only rule is to remember Krishna and never forget him. And all the other rules and regulations is just to supplement, to support that.
Mm.
Yeah.
So beautiful.
Yeah, nectar of devotion.
Dang. Now it's after 9 o'clock, eh?
How about you, Brielle? Would you like to summarize your experience?
It's just interesting learning about all these, so many details about Krishna. And I'm grateful that I'm not having the experience that I had when I first read Krishna book, which is when I read all these details about these pastimes, I had a lot of doubt. But I'm not experiencing that so much reading these. It's just really interesting and variegated. Like there's so many details. But I felt pretty distracted today, so I don't know how much my mind will remember things that we read today.
I sometimes tell to people how, just like when you love someone, if you get to know about him something more deep or intimate, you're gonna love him more.
Yeah.
If we read the Christian book or the Nectar of Devotion in the right service attitude, our love is gonna increase. The same chanting, the same prasadam, the same. Today we cooked. I offered Krishna utma and dal.
That.
I haven't offered it for so long, and I forgot how tasty it is.
What's utma?
Utma is like it's basically vegetables, and it's like halwa, but it's salty halwa with vegetables inside.
Cool.
And
Pretty good.
How was it, Keith? It was pretty good.
They like a plate like that. Eyes were like Jagannath's. So the same simple prasadam, the same book. It's like there is. I remember I used to listen to Zeppelin a lot, and they have this song that this song remains the same or something like that. And it's about the song that every time you hear it, it's the same song, but it's a different pleasure or different. So that's Krishna consciousness. You don't have to change anything. You just have to go deeper, immerse yourself in, deeper through these qualities and relationships, and it's like a big, I don't know how to describe it, like just not information, but yeah, I don't know. I'm a bit tired myself.
Yeah, it's there's great depth and
And the more we know about Krishna, we're gonna love him more. There's gonna be some more attraction.
And more like, the more we understand about him, the more we can remember him. Like, for example, the birds, you sent the email about the birds. Thank you for sending that. It's just really special to like have this new thread of remembering Krishna through all these different kinds of birds.
Yeah. Happy I can still serve you and Keith and everyone. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhus, for organizing and facilitating this.
Good night.
Good night.
Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu ki jai. Prabhupada ki